And I have the same with UnLeadership. I think we are leading all the time. Now, if in a good way or a bad way, that's up for the debate. But we are simply being leaders regardless if we've been given the title or we feel like we are one. If people are listening to you and wanting to learn from you to do what they're doing, you're their leader. Leader is not a title. Leadership is not a verb, as John Maxwell famously said. Right? Leadership is moments. And moments we have. So we have these opportunities that sprout out all the time. It can be on social, it can be in person, it can be at a store, what doesn't matter. We always have these opportunities to do something with it and about it. For example, here, this is Devin. This young man decides to tweet. The president of his university, of Eastern Kentucky University, decides to shift a tweet and use all the academic knowledge he's gleaned from his life on this planet to formulate a well-written yet poignant tweet. And he says, "Yo, EKU Prez, come shovel my driveway /road and I'll come to class tomorrow, ... deal, triple question mark," so you know it's serious. Now, where I have an issue with this, like, I don't have an issue with, you shoot your shot, right? You go, you do your thing, shoot your shot. But you went and asked for the driveway /road to be shoveled. And I'm Canadian. I understand the implication of the driveway /road because those can be very long and full of snow. So, President Benson, so Michael Benson, who's the president of Eastern Kentucky University, you have an opportunity now. You can either ignore it, which is justified on many different levels. You could reply and just say, ha ha, or do like ha ha, and then like do ha ha and LOL like us old people would do to their kids. And they're like, you don't have to do both of those, Dad. And you're like, I'm your father. I can mistext anything I want. Where's the caps lock button? I don't understand what that means. So, or he can reply back and play along. And he says, it's a deal, what's your address? And you're like, it's on like Donkey Kong now. And I'm like, so I want him to show up with a snowplow. Like, I want him to show up with a full plow on the road and have like Devin's name on the side of it. It's like F-U Devin or whatever it's gonna be. Like, it's amazing, right? Like, he called the bluff, right? Like, and dude is all in, and Devin's got like nothing. And so he shows up, shovels the man's driveway, and says a deal is a deal. Before and after at the driveway of Devin Daly, expect to see you in class tomorrow. Oh, no. Wait. There's more. What's the biggest burn you could do to a student, a young man in your school? What's the biggest burn possible? Could it be you take a photo with his mom? Your Honor, I would like to submit this to one of the best burns possible, with a court noting the fact that the mom simply could have held the dog differently. It's uncomfortable for the dog, it's uncomfortable for you, and frankly, for us. You just scoop it, or put it in its natural habitat on the ground. So he called the bluff, took the mom photo, and then Devin had to show up. No class this week, but I held up my end of the deal. The school was closed due to snow. Because there was at least, an 1/8 of an inch of snow. So they shut it down. That's my Canadian ripping on places that don't have snow. And they're like, but they don't have salt trucks. I'm like, fine. And then he says, my favorite one, I literally never complain about going to class again. I love it. Look, we talk a lot about, it's the generational things, and I talked about that in 2019, and of that we have this issue, right, between us. We have this issue of getting angry. If you remember, again, my returning crew, my encore audience, part of this will remember this graphic from 2019. So don't worry, everybody who's new to this as well and old, I updated it. So there we go. We're good. We're covered, yes. Clubhouse, TikTok, Instagram, and just had to LOL for Google+, because what? So this is still here. This is still part of an issue. This is still part of the problem where, again, it becomes this overwhelm. And people are saying, like when Clubhouse first blew up, and I'm good with, you're on Clubhouse, awesome. I have a profile there. I've never turned on the mic, never done it. It's audio-based type of thing. But people started coming to me, and I started feeling like some of you, which is rare for me because, like, this is my world. This is how I got known. Like, it was Twitter that put me on the map and got the book deal, and then 6 books later and all this stuff, and now I'm the old guy on here, and I'm like, I don't want to go to another place, another platform. And they're like, Scott, you have to. And that's when I decided I didn't. Right? A good way I find is that the older I get, the more if I get told what to do, I will spend 100 times the energy not doing it. I'll spend more effort than you can possibly imagine to deny doing that thing that you've told me to do. And that's because we start feeling stupid, too, or behind, or also maybe I don't have any more time in the day to add another profile, another thing. And I heard Scott years ago say, don't open a place in social media if you're not going to use it and be there, so I can't. And they're like, yeah, but this is the new way, right? You gotta be on the talk ticks, and you gotta be over here doing this thing. I love NAMM because only about 1/10 of the audience gets the talk tick joke, and everybody else is like, I heard of that thing. Isn't that Derulo kid on there doing something as well? And so now you have labels coming out and like literally not asking artists, but making it part of it, saying you need to do TikTok or we're gonna drop you. And it's got a huge power. I freaking love it. I love what TikTok does. I love some of the behind the scenes figuring out how the algorithms work. But again, I don't need to do it because I don't want to, and I can't dance that well. So I'm not going to do that type of stuff. But you get made feel stupid and dumb. If you have people at your business that don't get in the way of it. Let them do it. Let them run with it with a few thoughts, a few parameters around it. Because we have this issue of this younger generation, right, coming back and trying to rip on us and me being Gen X. Where are my people, by the way? Where are my Gen Xers out there? Still see you there? Yeah, every year it gets quieter. Like next year, Gen X will be like, what? Like what do you like? We're going through second puberty right now, right? You know, it's the great migration of hair, right? Moves from here, starts coming out of my ear. Last week, I plucked a 1/2 incher right out of my earlobe, and the worst part, I know how I'm getting older. Nobody told me. That's what I used to do with my grandfather. He'd have like an 8-footer coming out of his eyebrow, right? And you'd be like, Grandpa, you want to cut that? Or I can get a hedge trimmer? Like, what do you want? And you just, would turn around to say, why? I'm like, touche. All right. Keep walking around with it waving in the air the whole time. So I understand it. And we get this kind of beef. Let me hear that, but listen, wait for this. Ready? Boomers, let me hear you. You see? It took time, right? They're on a tape delay, 1 to 5 seconds. But when they wake up, they're just like, oh, hey, that's me, yeah. Millennials, let me hear you. Yeah, still pricks, yeah, still. I heard somebody last week say something. He's like, the millennials are killing it. I'm like, they're 37. They're not 15 years old. They are like us. They have this thing, what we call is just persistent soreness. Yes? You've gotten to the age, yes, where you wake up and you're sore still from the day before, but you didn't do anything. That was the soreness from the day before, and it's just consistent. It's what I can rely on, and you need stability in your life these days. And I can rely on waking up and going, I pulled my hamstring 3 weeks ago by waking up. That's the whole story, by the way. It's just a sad statement. Let's see, who's he got? Millennials? What do we call it? Is Gen Z or Z, where I'm from? Where are you, Gen Z? Yeah, okay, yeah. There's 3 of you, but you're screaming. which, yep, that works. That works. That's okay. So this whole world, we get this anger and we band together. So Gen Xers got together, right? And we banded together with boomers and we formed that sore and judgmental Voltron. And we go after these young whippersnappers and they're like, yeah, but look what the millennials, look what Gen Z is coming out with. They got the virtual reality. And I'm like, we invented that in '82. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And they're like, yeah, but what about this, Scott? What about smart speakers? Here's the deal, old man. They speak to you. And I'm like, oh, really? Back in my day, they spoke to us as well. As long as I had 24D batteries on the ready, I could listen to this for 18 to 22 minutes until it died and the battery acid leaked out continuously. But this is the issue. This is the problem. We get so angry and ramped up. And this is the thing I read before, and I wanted to really sink in. This article online says, I'm fed up with the ceaseless carping of a handful of spoiled, self-indulgent, overgrown adolescents. If you were here a few years ago, don't spoil it. This is a generation that was raised with the highest standard of living in the history of the world, and we keep ripping. We have a generation whose every need has been catered to since birth. Now, when they finally face adulthood, they expect the gift-giving to continue. But the whiners want everything now. A generation raised on the principle of instant satisfaction simply can't understand the concepts of long-term planning and deferred gratification. What's their reaction when they don't get what they want? That's right, they throw a tantrum. Most people live ordinary lives of quiet desperation, stuck in uninteresting jobs they're afraid to lose. You weren't expecting motivation this morning, were you? If you want more than that, move out of your parents' houses, start working, and for heaven's sake, stop whining. I heard a yay. No, because some of you know, this is from Newsweek, October 31st, 1993. Some of you knew that was coming. Till I can't dance. I should go on TikTok. So, this is the issue that I bring up, and I bring up every year, and one of the most important things in leadership is understanding this point. Ideas, passion, even profit does not have an age. Innovation does not have an age. Your business should not have one. But that's how we sometimes cylinder things. We put them in there, and then we just blame on, right? Like if you're driving, somebody cuts you off, you just figure which stereotype. Can you hang on a second? Good to see you. So you get somebody cuts you off and they're like, oh, it's because they're young or they're old. And if they're the same age as you, you just throw into a different category then, right? You throw in gender, you throw in race, whatever that is. But then when you cut somebody off, you do the Canadian, which is this. Sorry, I'm so sorry. And then we give the Canadian wave, which is this, right? Which is number one. We always think we're number one in Canada, so that's why we do that. But here's the thing. We've always been like this. Every generation hates the younger generation. My grandfather hated my father. My father certainly hates me. And I hate our 5 kids. I don't. They're wonderful. We have 5 incredible, unique children that I love to death. What I meant to say is I hate your kids. You seen them in public? They're terrible. I'm going to prove it to you, okay? I'm going to prove to you that this, oh, there he is. Sorry, I forgot to bring him up, too. That was me at 18, by the way. It's my audition photo for Lord of the Rings. For which now I'm going for Gandalf. I'm working on it. I'll talk about that kid in a second. Here's another quote, okay? Another quote. Times are bad, children no longer obey their parents, and everyone is writing a book. When was this written? Now, this could have been written Thursday, yes? I want you to guess the year. Closest to it, I'll send you any of our books, or if you don't want that, somebody else's book. It's going to be weird, because I'll sign it. Yeah, don't be afraid to go back. Who's going Price is Right? Who's going $1? Who's going 1 year? Did anybody win? Did anybody go BC? Yeah, right here. Drop me a line, unmarketing.com. We're on marketing on Instagram and Twitter. We'll take it. I'll forget to do it. In about 3 months, you'll have a book. So, and we're in. Cicero said this. We've been hating on the young people since Cicero. Now, when a friend of mine sent me this a few years ago, I looked at it quickly because he knew I talked about generations and I did the whole thing. And I briefly looked at it. And I thought the quote was attributed to Cisco. And I am a Cisco connoisseur. I love Cisco, I love Drew Hill, but I did not remember this line from the Thong Song. Ooh, no, hips so scandalous, times are bad, children no longer obey their parents. Oh, it's close, that's close, that's close. But I'm gonna keep Cisco up here for a little longer because I can. And props to my friend Cisco. This is the thing, we just keep doing it. It plays itself out every generation, and then when we get older, and then it's our turn to crap on them. Right? You waiting decades. And when the persistent soreness starts kicking in, a new hair appears on like your hip for no reason. This is all self-described, by the way. You're welcome. And then we're just like, I guess it's time, right? And then we turn around and we just start crapping on them. And we get upset at them. And people think that doesn't leak into work. I don't believe in the separation of business and personal. I think your business is very personal to you. Yes? You take it very seriously and passionately, and it is your life. And for some of you, literally, it's your life. I don't take kindly to people that try to separate those two things. I don't take kindly to people that when they let somebody go, they say it's not personal. You're damn right it's personal. It's my life. You might have a bunch of employees. I have one job, and I have one life. And I think that personality is what's missing in a lot of places because we tell them don't have it, don't be it, leave that crap at the door. When that's what makes us us. And a business and a leader who understands that can change that, can fix that. Let me describe one to you. And the story is not me being the leader, I promise you. I don't do that. So this kid here, 18 years old, I had a wide variety, as a quote from Wayne's World, I have a wide variety of hairnets and name tags associated with it. If there was a punch clock, I was doing the job for some reason. I did retail, I did restaurant. I firmly believe in retail, that for every 10 years you work in retail, you should be legally allowed to murder one person. And I think it should be visual. You know how, like, if you kill somebody in prison, you get a teardrop, right? Or something like that. I believe I haven't brushed up, so please inform me if that's wrong. I just know when I see somebody with that, I'm just like, wow. And so I don't know if it like, but see, the problem is the teardrop is really good for retail because it makes you cry like all the time. And so I think maybe it's just like a sticker or something. Okay, murder's too much. I know. We'll have a retail Uno reverse card. And you get one, so not 10 years, because it's not murder. Let's back it down. For let's say, every year you survive in retail, you get one reverse card. And when you get that customer that comes in that you know what I'm talking about, right? It's the customer that makes you think if it wasn't for customers, it would be so much easier to be in retail. Those people. Yes? And I want to have it in your pocket, up in your shirt or something like that, and it just sticks out a bit. And you always see that little reverse thing. And if you play it, they have to switch jobs with you for a year. Because I don't know about you, but I've had about enough of people. That's the whole sentence, by the way. There's nothing more to that. I've had enough of a lot of people by this point in my life that if you are abusive to staff at a place, I want to be abusive to you. People need to be kind to those who showed up because they showed up. And if you're not being kind, how about you grab an application? If you don't like the service, how about you grab an application? If you don't like the wait for your product that you ordered that I have no control over when it comes in, how about you pick up an application? Kindness doesn't have an age, a salary level, or anything else. We have the ability to be human to each other and connect with each other, even when you're this punk. 18-year-old Scott from a suburb of Toronto in Oakville, an affluent suburb, if I may. Huh? All fancy. I went to one of the fancy high schools. My only job was to rebel against it. What are they listening to in high school? Oh, okay, I'll listen to Pantera then, that's fine. Whatever it was, to the point when the new school was opened and christened and it had an atrium. Yeah, that type of school. The first live music song ever to be played was in that atrium in my grade 12 year, and it was Pantera, Cowboys from Hell. You're welcome, and they'll never be able to take that away from me for that place. But I was an ass, and I thought I was hard done by. Let me remind you, I was hard done by because I am a straight, white, able-bodied male from a suburb in Canada. You don't know pain. You don't know pain. So, many of jobs I had, but this is one of the jobs that stuck out with me. Initially, really, it was because of a few things. One, the people who worked there I just got along with real great. You know, when you work somewhere, eventually you connect, and free movies and popcorn. In 1995, I saw 95 of the top 100 grossing films that year, and some that didn't make that list. So I loved it, loved the vibe of the place. The only thing I didn't like was the customers and the managers, right? Other than that, wicked. Like the projectionists, they were great, all that stuff. So I was an ideal employee at 18. I was a triple threat. I was a terrible box office worker, a lazy concession stand person, and a horrible usher that would just sit in the back and watch movies or sit in the front and watch movies sometimes. What are you going to do? And I didn't get along with the general manager of the place. I won't name her, but it was Brenda. And Brenda and I didn't see eye to eye. In hindsight, it was pretty much all on me, but not at the time. I didn't think that. So I would come in late, or I wouldn't come in late. You know, I was being smart about it. If I was working at 6, I would punch in at 6 and then go get changed. Go hang out in the break room a bit. You know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, live a little. Live a little, okay? So I'd punch in, I'd go down. My 15-minute break would be like 20, 25, depending on it, you know what I mean? Like, I took up smoking just to get more breaks, right? It was a great strategy at the time. So then I would give away my shifts on the weekend and then complain if I wasn't scheduled for them again the following weekend just so I could give them away, right? Like all those things, all those type of things. I hated all the authority and everything else. And then one day, about a year or so into working there, a woman busted open the door from the Majestic Theater. I remember this vividly. So she's at the Majestic, far left. I'm at the concession stand. We're cleaning, okay, because the movie's going, and it's Forrest Gump. I just aged myself. It's Forrest Gump, left screen, and the second one, huge movie, so the reel's running between both of them. And a woman busts out, and I know she's coming for me. Because a few minutes prior, I told her snot-nosed punk kid off. Because he, being an Oakville kid, showed up with all the entitlement that you can and says, hey, that's how you open the conversation, bye. Hey, give me a cup of ice water. And now, I don't know if you've ever been like 17 or 18 years old. I know some of you have. But when you're that age, you work in retail and those type things, you enforce policies and procedures you don't necessarily agree with, nay, even understand. But when you have a chance to wield said power, you wield it like the Highlander. So this punk comes up and goes, give me, and he points at the large cup, like 17 gallons. And you know if you've ever worked at a place like this, you don't give those cups out, right? That's for inventory. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like at the end of the night. What we do have is custom-made small cups of water. You know, Dixie cups? Like a souvenir thimble version of that. And so I went, I'm sorry, because I'm using all my power of policy and then also the knowledge that if you smile at somebody angry, it makes them angrier. And that's my goal. So I said, I'm so sorry, I can't give you that cup, but I have a special one just for you. I two-handed it. There you go. I can't fit the ice in it, however. He tells me to go F myself. I return the favor to him, waiting for Mama to come out. Now I'm getting ready. So I'm stretching, pulling out a thesaurus. Any insults I can do today. I don't know why I licked my finger, but anyway. She comes flying out, and she's gunning from the get. You son of a... And I'm like, oh, yeah, come on, yelling at her, and it's like, it's going to be fight night. And in this corner is a 152-pound usher from Oakville, Ontario, with an attitude problem, Scott, and we have a mother here in Oakville who wants to give me the gears. I'm screaming at her. She's screaming at me. I am up on the counter, screaming, yelling. This is the only good part of the job now. This is my only good part of the job. I get to yell at people. And as I'm screaming, I don't know what would happen if I actually went over it. Like, I would just crumple on the ground and pee myself. Like, I'm not going to do anything. So I'm yelling, and just then I feel a hand on my shoulder behind me. Not hard, like barely, like it's floating, and there was like a glow to it. And it just kind of didn't force me, it just pulled me back. And I'm like, what? Jesus, is that you? Like, have you come down just to help me out here? And I turn around, and it's Brenda. And she just puts me in between myself and the woman. She puts herself between us and looks at her and says, "Lady, get the hell out of my theater. You don't talk to people that way. You don't talk to Scott that way." And I'm like, you didn't have to tell her my name. Like, that's cool. Like, my name tag says Tim. And my favorite movie is like Die Hard 2, and you know it isn't. It's Die Hard 1, so come on. And she's like, "I don't know who you think you are, but get out. Get your money, get out, get your snot-nosed kid out of here too, and never come back." And now I'm behind Brenda like this. You're lucky. You're lucky she took her. How's your water taste now, punk? She turns around, and I'm like, "Hey." And she looks at me and goes, "You all right?" And I said, "Yeah, now." And I'm really confused at this moment because I saw her as an ally, right? As somebody had my back, and I just went, in a confused way, I just went, "Thank you?" Because I thought I was about to be fired. Like, I was going down like John Bond. I'm going down in a blaze of glory. Like, if I'm gonna be fired, I'm going out with fire and brimstone, right? It's gonna be the most, like, I didn't quit a job up to that point without at least the finger being pulled out, right? So it's like I'm burning bridges as I go. And I just looked at her, and I said, "Thank you." And all she said to me was, "I got your back," and walked away. I swear to you, it transformed me. It transformed me. I came in on time. I didn't give away shifts. I didn't take breaks. I did take breaks. I'm not a psycho. Like, I took breaks. Like, it didn't transform me into a robot. Like, "Yay." But I took them at the right time. And I gave my friends crap who were taking advantage of it. And I saw it differently. Why? She had my back. Do you know that doesn't change with age, right? You know, it always feels good for somebody to have your back. Yes? Yes. That never changes. Do the people that work with you or for you feel that? And I know it's a balance, because you got a balance between customers and employees and even vendors. It's a dance between them. But if you're gonna have an employee enforce a ridiculous policy, have their back. Because you know what happened at the theater that built to that point? Every time we'd enforce a policy and the customer would kick up a stink, we'd have to call a manager, yes? And the manager would come over and override our policy that we were enforcing that we didn't believe in, because they were a manager. And that would make us look stupid in front of the customer. We almost got into a fight once, weekly, but we almost went to blows with this group of people coming into the theater, and we were forcing them out. They were banned. And we were there, and they're threatened. They're like, "Afterwards, we're gonna be in the parking lot." And I'm like, "I got you, yeah, let's." I'm just waiting, who's bigger around me? You, okay, yeah, we'll be there. Right? And we're literally yelling threats back and forth. And the manager came in and said, "Just let them in." They didn't have to fight afterwards. They had us. We were a joke. If you're gonna make employees enforce policies, have them understand it. Explain it to them. "Yeah, but Scott, because some of you employ younger people too, right? Yeah, but they're 18, they're not gonna get it." You'll be surprised. If it was explained to me in those ways, instead of just thinking I'm immature, which I am, I was a bad employee, which I was, treat them like they're an adults. And by the way, if you employ 18 and up, you employ grown-ass adults, yes? And I'm including you in this part, by the way. Then we need to treat each other like grown-ass adults. That includes customers, vendors, employees, owners. And what are the rules of adulthood? You don't get to yell at me. Yes? Okay, I'm sorry. It's weird because I'm yelling at you right now. But you know what I mean, right? Every human deserves respect and kindness. And if they work for you, even more so. Yes? Because you remember the jobs that you loved. You remember the manager or the leader or the teacher that changed things for you for the good. And if you don't, I'm sorry you've had that history, because they're good people. And you know what they can do, yes? Here's the one thing about them and those people. They never knew they were that person to me until 20 years later. You're that to people now, right now, today, that can shift it. So think about what we're putting out there. Think about how we're talking about it. Remember how we rip on younger generations or we hate their music or we hate this? Stop crapping in their cornflakes, please. And I don't mean you are doing it. I mean people should stop crapping in yours too. It's a whole crapapalooza going on. They like a certain music you don't. I didn't ask you. You know, one of the best ways to bond with people is music. But we crap on them because of their taste in this or what they drive or what they own or what they like. Do you. And I'm including you in this, not just leaders in this room who need to be doing it better. I'm not saying because I don't know you. I'm saying we all need to do better. Stop crapping on each other about this stuff. Okay? You still play video games and you're 47, do it. I am still rocking the Xbox. Still playing it. The only reason I was still rocking a Dreamcast is because they just ain't making them anymore. I was still playing an Atari, but I realize in hindsight it was really crappy now. It was amazing. Pong was amazing then. That was ColecoVision, I'm sorry. But if that's your thing, that's your thing. I don't care what it is. Don't let anybody crap on it. And if they do, take a note. Take a note, because their reaction to your joy is insult. That should be written down somewhere for you for later purposes to understand that person. Those are not the people I want to be around with. Those are not the people I want to talk to. This is my favorite policy. This is Italy's policy. The customer is not always right. Italy is not always right. And through our differences, we create harmony. I love this as a policy. And I hate when people bring up, and it's usually customers, obviously, when they say, what about when the customer is always right? That's not the quote. That's not the quote. The quote is the customer is always right in matters of taste. Which means if I order a plate of spaghetti from you and you say it's delicious and you give it to me and I eat it and I'm like, it tastes like fertilizer. And you're like, I don't think it does. You're like, I don't care. I'm eating it. It's taste. It's subjective. The customer is not always right. And frankly, when they get upset, a lot of the times in my experience, they're actually wrong a lot. And they're angry, they're wrong, or you're being told. Okay, customers shouldn't have, there shouldn't be fealty to them. There shouldn't be at all costs. If a customer is abusive to one of my staff members, they are never coming back. If somebody's a prick from a school and you rent them a whole bunch of instruments and it's a big, big part of your revenue, and the person there is an asshole, you be better, my people, or we're done. Your job as leaders is to be standing in front. And that shield goes this way, and they're behind you. And you stand up with them and for them. And the problem is we're like this. And we're talking them this way. Right? They can do things. They're adults for the most part. They can get through this stuff. But these two traits are what will change leadership for not you, for everybody. It's the two hardest traits to have as a leader, I think. Why? Because you're leaders. And stuff comes with that. Adoration or respect, this, that. And what we forget about sometimes is these things. And don't confuse the words. Empathy is not sympathy. Empathy is not when somebody tells you something, you say, that must be hard. Let me tell you about a story of how that relates to me and back about me. Self-awareness is simply understanding your impact on others and how others see you. I've been going through this for the past couple of years. I am a recovering narcissist. I tried to start Narcissists Anonymous, but it's in the name. Okay, so it's I won't explain it. But I only see the world in the way that I've been told and shown and seen. Look, this is my life. I get to be on stage and I get to yell at you for like 45 minutes to an hour, and then I just go home and people clap for me. How many jobs do people get applause for? And I don't get the booing. Like, well, athletes get applause. They also get booed, right? Musicians get applause. I'm like, yeah, but they have to do work. They have to do stuff, and there's amps and things and stuff like that. That's the problem, understanding your impact. And I'll do it with one of these statements here, about self-awareness. The people that know the culture of your business are the people at the lowest level. And the higher you go, the less you know the actual culture. Because culture is filtered up and pushed down. And if you have multiple layers between you and your frontline staff, you really don't realize how little you know of what's happening. Because it's filtered up to you. Because if I'm in your chain of command and I'm going to give you some bad news, well, why did I let that happen? It's filtered a lot of the times. You want to find out? You want to see where it's at? You want to see where you stand? Use these 3 words. And only these 3. Stop, start, continue. To find out from any group where you stand. This can be employees. This can be customers. You can do it with vendors too, if you want. And all you say is, what should we start doing? What should we stop doing? And what should we continue doing to ensure that we have a long-lasting relationship? Because we really give a damn. A few caveats to this. Do not do this if you're not going to use the information you get, because it actually will make things worse. And the worst type of employee complaint you can have is one you do not hear. It festers, it grows, and then it's too late. This exercise, just use Google surveys. It's free. Send it out. You could do it right now if you want. It takes a little bit of time, and mobile's really hard to, anyway. But you can do it very easily, and it's free. You can make it anonymous or not, because it works. We did this when I used to do consulting. I don't anymore, because I hate people. But when we did consulting a decade ago, I had a private school in Toronto bring me in, and they were losing kids when they would re-enroll, and that's their everything, obviously, but they'd only find out when they didn't re-enroll by the deadline. By that time, it's way too late. If you give lessons at your locations, and they buy them in packs, or they subscribe, you want to find out as it goes, how's it going, okay? But don't ask them, by the way, this question is, do not ask them to their face, because we're people pleasers. We don't want to give the real issue. You put it online, you make name and contact info optional if you want to have them follow up on what they're saying. And what you're looking for with this is not every answer and to react to everything, is looking for patterns. And if you keep hearing from people taking lessons that they're not consistent, like they keep getting canceled, then you can see what's going to happen when they don't renew down the road. Which is, by the way, the reason why my son stopped his drumming lessons at the music place in where I live. They never asked. I think we still have a lesson on file still. We can communicate. Now, you can't scale this too much. You can't do 10,000 people necessarily. But when we did this for the private school, we sent it out to the parents, and we had a 96% response rate in 48 hours. That is impossible. Like, literally, I'm standing here saying that's full of crap. Like, I'm telling myself it's a lie. It's not. Now, again, it's a small group of people and a very vested interest in the product, but still, they laid it out. The food wasn't what we thought it was going to be when we were told. We were told we're having certain dishes for these kind of dietary restrictions, and it seems to be an afterthought sometimes, and it does not make my child feel, not special, by the way, just accepted. They took that, they found out where the drop-off was, where the miscommunication happened, and changed it. How does that parent and child feel when they were heard? And when they asked her 6 months later, how is it going? She says, not only am I now happy, we're going to come back next year. And they didn't know they were leaving. The school didn't know. Or you could do it the opposite way, like the story I'm going to tell you now, and it's a good time. So, I'm brought into a place, had a referral, again, still doing way back in the day, consulting, but also kind of training and things like that, as long as I could talk. That's what I was looking for. Brought into a place, it was a distribution center near the airport in Toronto, and I'm brought in to talk about work your life, which was my topic back then, which was literally about the separation of personal and business, and actually how to try to enjoy every day and not just weekends type of thing. So it was cheesy, but it landed. So I get into this place. They're saying, hey, I got a referral from like Quaker State or Pennzoil or something like that to go into this place. It was cool. Walk in, go up to the executive boardroom. Walk in, impressive, by the way, like a real nice oak table. Like that sucker was more than my car, like real nice. Sit down with my 4 fellow white men at the table. And the executive's like, hey, Scott, so we got the referral. We heard you did great stuff over there. We'd love you to talk to our people, too, in the warehouse. And I'm like, great. What are the issues? And he says, oh, and I quote, oh, we don't have actually any issues. Now, do you know how I know they had issues? Because they said they didn't have any. I said, oh, okay, then why am I here? They said, oh, because they're here, but we want you just to take them to the next level. And I'm like, all right, steroids, you got it. And so I'm like, great. So we scheduled like 5 or 6 lunch and learns, right, and different teams or units. So I show up a few weeks later for the first one, and I walk in, but I didn't walk in to the left up to the executive. I went to the employee entrance to the warehouse, and I felt like it was like Folsom Prison. It was like getting buzzed in, right? So I'm Johnny Cash walking into this place, and I'm just like, and then it comes in. And I come into this not good room, which was kind of a break room. Lockers were all broken, it was dirty. And I start doing my thing. I got a flip chart, hand out the overpriced binders I way overcharged them for, give them all out, and I start talking about how to have a great work and life balance and how to enjoy things every day. And they are not budging. They are not reacting, and as a speaker, I feed off of reactions like today. I try to figure out where I stand so I know where to go with it. They're not budging. And 10 minutes into it, that's how long, it was 10 minutes. And I'm like, nope, I cut it. Because it's not like this room, it was 6 people. I couldn't hide in a corner of a stage. And I stopped and I'm like, hey, what's up? You all just really look like you don't want to be here, and I understand if you don't. And a woman puts up her hand, and she says, and I quote, Scott, what you're saying is all fine and good, but at the end of this talk today, you get to leave. And I'm like, Warden, can you buzz me out? I come back out, and I realize they were in hell. They were in, you could see it. They were just like, and so me coming in, hey everybody, let's talk about work-life balance. They're like, I murder you. So I said, okay, I have an idea. And I won them back over with this one simple trick. Take out 3 pieces of paper out of the overpriced binder, write stop on the top of one, start on the top of the one, and continue on the third one, and write down everything you'd want them to do. And by the way, you can flip it. Like if you want to do it for your a retail store and you have a staff, just say if you ran the store, what would you stop doing, start doing, continue doing? Like it's more like, it's not exactly at you back and forth. It's like if you had your own place, what would you do? Amazing what can come out. Anyway, I did that, and they started writing ferociously. And then one guy goes like this. I'm like, yes. He's like, will our names be on this? And I'm like, no, I'm going to type it out anonymous. He's like, good. Do you have more paper? I did this with all 5 groups. No talk. I walked in and said, tell me. Oh, I also said, they said, you're all good, but we just want to be even better. And they laughed really hauntingly at that. So then, a few weeks later, I have my meeting with my crew, with the white boys. We get up there. It's like fat boys in the 80s, but white boys. So we get up there. And they are not too pleased to see me this time. There's no fruit basket anymore. There's no cheese spread for Scott. Just a table. And them all just staring at me when I walk in, and I'm like, hello. And I just have all these binders, which are the results of the surveys. I'm like, gentlemen, how you doing? I have a gift for you. And they're like, well, we need to talk. And I was like, I have a gift. Wouldn't let them start. Each binder, section 1, start. This thick, I do not lie. Stop. This thick. Continue. 1 piece of paper. And by the way, the trick in this, the continuous tells you what you're doing right. And the only feedback for continue was, I really enjoyed the hot dog 2 years ago at the barbecue. 2 years ago, by the way. Semi-annual, obviously. And they're reading this stuff. And if I could bring all you there to watch their faces, every page. One guy across from me, Steve, one of the VPs who got ripped the most because he's a prick, every turn was more violent, until the last one, he tore it out, and in one motion went like this. And I'm like, that's a Cirque du Soleil move, man. It's beautiful. And he's like, I know what happened here. And I'm like, do tell. Steve. 1, they're lying, or 2, you told them to write these things. I'm staring like this because of how uncomfortable it was when it happened, and this is exactly what happened. I just stare back at him for 5 seconds, and then I went, or, Steve, is it possible there's a third option? That, hang on, hold on to your pants here. This is how they feel? And he looked at me and said, bullshit, and you know what he says. If they didn't like it here, they'd leave. Which, as you know, is the greatest recruiting phrase ever. And the CEO goes, Scott, we didn't hire you to do surveys. We're done. I'm like, thanks. Got up, left. Oh, that's the whole story. There's no great ending to that story, by the way. There's no like redemption arc where they call me a month later and say, we saw the error of our ways. Come back, Canadian Tony Robbins, come back. Which is no longer a good comparison. Come back and save us from our own ways. No, they still suck. And that's it. That's the answer. And that's one of my favorite things is some people, it's a great, it's a Tom Segura line, great comedian, who says just some people just suck. That's the whole sentence. And the problem is if they don't get on board, you got to leave. And what happens in a lot of companies, because I used to be in HR, if you can believe that, I went to school for HR, worked in HR, got into it because I love people, left it hating people. Not saying it's a connection, but just saying. Right? But we put this crap on them all the time. Right? We do it. We do it in interviews. When you interview somebody, I was in HR, I did hundreds of interviews, and I sat back and I'm like, so, what's your biggest weakness? Knowing you'd be lying through your ass about it. You say I'm a workaholic or a perfectionist, 2 of the top answers ever given, both the type of people I do not want to work with, because I am the unworkaholic and the unperfectionist in what I do. But we ask them now, we're like, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I'm like, I don't know, killing zombies? What does that mean? I don't know. And when they ask for, hey, can you give me, just remember, if you ask for references, if we're dealing with fellow humans and especially fellow adults and you ask me for 3 references, why don't you give me 3 as well? Give me 3 names of people who have worked here in the past few years, 1 who's left in the past 6 months that I can talk to see if they had an exemplary work experience like you claim. Yeah? Why not? Right? We're adults. I know some places and some companies, they do like 5 to 8 interviews. What is wrong with you? Like, and I had somebody first of all say, well, if they're currently employed to be a better employee, stop that crap right now. Right now. What about the gap year in your resume? How about you shut your mouth? It's none of your damn business. That's what it is. I snorted Coke for 1.5 years. It was awesome. What do you want? Like, do you want the answer or do you just want to be a prick? If you're still wondering about job gaps right now and that stuff, stop it. It's a new world now. It's not the great resignation, it's the great realization that if we work together and I work for you or you agree to work for someone else, you've entered what's called a business agreement, which has 2 parties. You and the person working for you. And are you more impressed or happy or proud that they work for you or that they work for you? There is a difference in that tone. That's an adult. I'm an adult. We've made an agreement. If you start asking me to do things out of that agreement, like if I was hired to be a retail clerk out front and not do heavy lifting, and I'm unloading the truck every 2 weeks, but not really the truck because we have supply chain issues, but anyways, and I'm loading this truck, we need to have a chat and change the contract as fellow adults and 2 persons in a business agreement. Contract law is very simple. There is an offer, then there's consideration, and then there's acceptance based on those principles. If you change them, we need to talk. And the best thing you can do going forward in the retail world is understand that respect is deserved to them and to you. Because you're the ones employing them, but it should be mutual. But a lot of times it's not. But I cannot state anything more important than this line. You don't know what it's like to work for you. That is not a negative sentence, nor is it positive. It's a realization. This is self-awareness defined. You don't know what it's like to report to you. So either we can find out, stop, start, continue, or we can assume. And we don't need to assume. We've pushed down a lot of people's opinions because we think they're not in charge, they're not in control, or they don't have the autonomy to say or do things, when they are the lifeblood of the business. They are the front line. And I said to you this in 2019, I'll say it again. If you want to increase the bottom line, improve your relationship with the front line. And realize this. I needed to realize this. I think I'm pretty great. And that's an issue sometimes, right? Confidence and arrogance is a fine line. And you need confidence to do what I do. When people ask me about it, they're like, well, name me some great speakers in your industry. I'm like, I'm one of them. And they're like, well, why would you say that? I'm like, I can't walk out on stage and say, well, you got the 17th best speaker today that you could have. So I guess here goes. I got to walk out here and saying, I'm here, you're here, I respect your time, and let's go do this. And you're going to be happy you're here today. That's how it works, because we think communication works like this. We think communication goes back and forth, but if anybody took communications, I mean elementary school, high school, or post-secondary level, you know what this is. This is the basic model of communications. I saw this on the blackboard, whiteboard, and online, depending on what year you were in school. It's a very simple thing. When you send a message, when you say to somebody, hey, what are you doing? You encode it in the way you want it to. It goes through the noise in the middle, and that can be literal noise, like trying to sleep in your hotel room at the Hilton at the NAMM. It was really loud last night. And then the person receiving it decodes it with their own decoding, their own thoughts, their own experience, their own life, it could be everything, their own language, all that stuff. That is the basic of communication, yes? This is how it works. So if I say to somebody, what are you doing? They might think that's like they're questioning why I'm here, but I'm actually saying, hey, what are you doing? Because I'm curious. And if you take away a lot of emotion, it's a problem, like text messaging. You can't encode it and decode it the same. If you get a text, let's say, if you work for somebody right now, and if you don't, remember when you did. And if they texted you or emailed you on a weekend and said, hey, meet me in my office 9 a.m. Monday. And you got that message Friday night at 8 p.m. How would your weekend go? Just constant diarrhea, right? All weekend? Anxiety-driven stomach issues all weekend. You're hopping on job boards. And then you show up and they're like, hey, I just want to check in how things are. And you're like, I will take a sword and put it straight through your eye and enjoy it. Don't do that. People are like, you shouldn't use emojis. It's not professional. Go stick it up your arse, all right? Emojis are emotion, yes? But one of the reasons we hate them is because young people use them and older people use them improperly. Right? Right? Oh my God, I heard my neighbor passed away, and you say LOL, and you're just like, why are you laughing, Dad? And I'm like, because I'm sending lots of love. What's the problem? And you don't get it. See, when I knew that, it was not funny, and then when I found it out, it was different, but here's where they're experiencing this. We think we're talking like this to people, but when you have power, it's this. And when you say something to somebody, and you look at something, and maybe, let's say something breaks. Somebody drops something. Maybe they break an amp or something happens. And you're like, oh, that was dumb. Right? Like the manager says it to you. What you're talking about is situational. Yes? In the situation, that was a dumb move. Let's learn. What the person hears is foundational. They're dumb. They suck. Which is why, as leaders, that empathy, that self-awareness, but also communication clarity is huge. Do you know how you know if your message was received right? You ask. You clarify. You say, oh, that was dumb. And then you say, I'm sorry, what I meant was, like, it was dumb because of that latch, and I've done it in the past too, or they did screw up. But you know what? That's how we learn, because wisdom is simply time plus mistakes. Leader is the one who leads them and shows them the safe way. People can't be themselves unless they feel safe, unless they feel trusted, unless they feel valued. This isn't hokey pokey. This isn't we are the world, let's hold hands. This is what's happening. But it's not for the new world and post-pandemic. It's always been like this. 29 years ago, I read a book talking about people, how they want to feel safe in workplace. We've always said it, but it's only come to the forefront now because of unemployment numbers. I don't want you doing this stuff until the unemployment numbers change. I want you doing this because it's good and it's kind to each other. And then you don't have to worry about swings. You know who's not worried about retention right now? People that have people that really connect with them. Loyalty is created. It's not in a book. It's not how this stuff happens. I love these type of things. This is something I found an old letter sent to my mother who was struggling to make payments on my trumpet. This is from Allegro Music Center in Florida. And he writes, and he says, Dear Mrs. Ruffin, I've decided to forgive the rent on Jacques' trumpet. You do not have to pay me any more for the trumpet. It's yours to play. However, if Jacques drops out of band and stops playing the trumpet, will you return to me so I can give it to some other deserving students? I've been through bad times like you, but remember, tough times never last. Tough people do. Maybe you can help some other students someday when times are better. Sincerely yours, James W. Jones, President Founder. James is somebody I would like to hang out with. Right? People are like, well, Scott, but how do we market? How do we get word of mouth? You do things worth talking about. I saw this letter on Reddit. And it flies and it gets shared. We have these moments. We have these times. And the key with it, and one of the reasons I love this event and I love you, and if you're a music retailer, I love music. I love everything about music. I love the crew, I love the road, I love the concerts, I love the behind the scenes. But what I love the most is when people get introduced to music, to the world of music. And you are the ones that open that journey for them. You are the ones that sell them their first guitar, their first trumpet, their first violin. You are the one that allows your school to rent that saxophone and realize, hey, maybe that is a sexy instrument I can play. That's because I played it, by the way, that's why I say that. You open the doors to a world, and in a world that is shutting down art, and schools are making it out of, instead of mandatory music, then they're making it optional. Some schools are not making it optional at all, and you have to go to a different place for it. To not be introduced to music should be a crime. And you provide that door to potential passion. I know it's been shitty for the past 2 years, and I promised Zach I wouldn't swear, and I just did it, and I'm sorry. It's been really hard. So I want to say a few things. One, you're here now, and that's amazing. And two, if that flame went down a bit, if that passion went down a bit, not only is that understandable, it's expected, but it's still there. And I want it to burn just a little bit more, because that passion is transferable. And I want not just the youth of today, I don't care if you're 76 or you're 7, you introduce them to that music, you've helped the world a little bit more, and that's why I love you. Enjoy the rest of the show, NAMM. I love you guys. Thank you for having me.